Hey YouTubers, welcome to another tutorial. In this one I'm going to be going over 5 things that you can do to make your future bass drops epic. Alright, let's head over to the studio and we'll get started. Alright, here we go straight into it with tip number 1, which is removing the mids from the sides of your mix. To create a really clean, wide future bass sound, what you want to do is keep your mids nice and bright and just full of the high sounds. You can do this using a tool called Pro Q3. I think Pro Q2 will work as well. And what you do is create a high pass and change the stereo placement to sides. So now you're only EQing the sides of the mix. You'll see if I drag this up here, we're now only hearing the middle of the mix and not the sides. And what we want to do is just drag this until it sounds right. Which for me is usually around there, which is about 300 Hertz. You can also listen to just the sides of your mix. I use a tool called Isotope Ozone 7, and you can solo just the sides. Or you can listen to just the mids. That's soloed. This is the whole mix now. Tip number 2 is separating your drop, separating your chord stack into the fundamental. I'm just recording my boy. Separating your drop into key groups that you can work with to control things like volume, EQ, and saturation or distortion. I usually have a bus or a group just for the high synths. That's usually a group of about 4 or 5 synths that are all playing in the higher end. I'll let you listen to what it sounds like in this mix. I then also have a mid-synth bus, which is for all my mid-bass sounds. I also have something I call a support bus, which is also the main lead sound. I use that for defining the notes that I want to hear on the track. It usually sits above everything else. In this mix, I had a bus just for a plucky bass sound that I really wanted to elevate. And then a bus just for your sub. These all go through to one LFO bus where you can do things like automate the LFO, glue them together with a bit of compression, and add things like filter automations to them. Tip number 3 is, so this is a bit of secret sauce that I've been putting on my mixes recently. I got the idea from an Illenium track that was released recently called Hearts on Fire, and it's got a washed out guitar sound that I really liked. It sounds something like this. What it is pretty simple. A lot of delay, a lot of distortion, a lot of reverb, and whatever cabinet sound you like. And I'm just butterfly picking notes on the guitar. Just to add to the crunchy rock guitar sound, which creates a great layer, I think, in future bass, I found a free plugin called Power Guitar, and you can Google it. It's free to download. It makes it really easy to create simple power chords. This is how it sounds. Tip number 4 is a bit of OTT and a bit of Camel Crusher. If you've been a future bass producer for long enough, I'm sure you'll know about OTT and Camel Crusher. They're 2 free plugins that you can use to make your stacks a bit more powerful, to stand out a little bit more. I like to dial the downward compression down a bit, and my depth is usually anywhere between 30 and 50 depending on the sound. Here's what it sounds like without. Here's what it sounds like with. definitely brings out those higher frequencies. Another one I use all the time is Camel Crusher, which is a great distortion plugin. Pretty easy to dial in your settings. This is what my lead sounds like without. And here's with. Just makes it way more in your face. Tip number 5 is high pass everything except your sub and kick. You'll see on all of my buses I've got an EQ and I'm cutting everything around about 100, 150. Everything below that is high passed. Bass pluck as well. And that leaves plenty of room for your sub, which I haven't even EQ'd yet, to shine alongside your kick. And that's it for number 5. It's looking pretty epic out there today. Hope you found that useful. Hit me up in the comments if you'd like to make any suggestions about some future tutorials or anything else. Hope you're doing well, and thanks for listening.